Anita and Anita Moorjani had been married 7 years before their lives changed forever.
It was April of 2002, and I felt a lump on my collarbone on my left-hand side, and I went to the doctor to have it checked out. He did a biopsy.
The test results arrived 3 days later.
We were both sitting in the doctor's clinic, and he just came straight out and said to us that he'd run the tests, and what she had was Hodgkin's lymphoma, which was a form of cancer.
I was numb. I was actually really numb.
Fear suddenly entered our life like it had never, ever been there before.
It continued to progress and get worse and spread throughout my body over a period of actually 3 years and 10 months. I had decided against chemotherapy because I watched my best friend and my husband's brother-in-law both die while having chemotherapy. And it appeared to me that it was the chemotherapy that was actually killing them.
Anita takes alternative treatments, but gets worse.
My lungs were filled with fluid. I was breathing with the aid of an oxygen tank. I had open skin lesions. I weighed about 80, 85 pounds because my muscles had all deteriorated. And so I just started to come to terms with the fact that I was going to die.
Anita's time is running out.
On the morning of February the 2nd, 2006, I didn't wake up.
The oncologist actually said to me, these are her last few hours. She's not going to make it through the night. If there's somebody you need to call them now. And I think it was at that moment that I felt, I guess you could say, I almost felt the life drained out of me.
Throughout the night, Anita seemed lifeless, but her mind was churning.
During this experience, I felt as though I crossed over into another dimension where I became aware of things far beyond that hospital room where I was in.
Anita Moorjani has vivid memories of seeing the afterlife.
I became aware of my best friend who I had lost to cancer. I had been in a lot of guilt because I didn't spend her last days with her because it was too painful for me to watch her die when I was dealing with my own illness. When I met her in the other realm, all I felt from her was unconditional love and understanding. She completely understood why I wasn't there, and it was just really amazing. It was such a relief for me. I was given a choice as to whether to come back or whether to go onward into death. At first, I absolutely wanted to go onward into death because this realm was so amazing. It was just so beautiful. And also, I didn't want to come back into a sick body. But then, the next thing that happened was I started to understand that if I chose to come back into my body would heal very quickly. My best friend seemed to say to me, go back and live your life fearlessly. And it was from that point on that I started to open my eyes and come out of the coma.
I guess that was one of the happiest moments of my life. I mean, I could feel myself ecstatic, probably the happiest person in the world, the happiest person in the universe.
But Anita's body is still riddled with cancer.
I kept kept saying, I'm going to be fine. I know I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about me.
My initial reaction at that point was like, yes, dear. And I was thinking, like any medical professional, yes, there's been damage, there's been oxygen deprivation.
But Anita's situation takes another unexpected turn.
Even though everybody thought that I was in a coma, I didn't realize I was in a coma because I was aware of everything that was going on around me. When the doctor walked in, I recognized him straight off, and he was very surprised because I started to tell him what procedures he had done on me, and he was very, very surprised. He said, how do you know you were in a coma?
When she started telling us things about that had transpired, I mean, it was pretty quick that I realized that, okay, there's something here that's not quite normal.
Not quite normal turns quite miraculous.
Everybody started to get really, really surprised, and within 4 days, my tumors had shrunk by 70%. And within 3 weeks, they couldn't find any cancer with all the tests they were doing.
There's some medical literature describing how rare spontaneous regression of malignancy is. Now, that happens perhaps only 1 in 100,000 cases. And by regression, I just mean the cancer gets smaller. For it to completely go away is even much rarer yet.
Several doctors looked into my case after this happened, and each doctor has come up with a different explanation. The doctors that treated me, they feel that it was their treatment. I believe it was my altered state of consciousness. As soon as I realized the truth of who I really am, I knew that I would be healed.